Red flag words and phrases.
Here, according to Richard Fear, are the most common words or phrases an experienced interviewer might use to encourage you to give them negative information. To what extent did you? How do you feel about /like? Is it possible that? How did you happen to? Has there been any opportunity to? To what do you attribute? Might. Perhaps. Somewhat. A little bit. Direct and indirect questions. Although you are not all that likely to run into many well-trained interviewers, they are out there. Experienced interviewers often use indirect language to encourage you to tell them more than you might if you were asked the same question more directly. During the course of an interview, keep your ears tuned for phrases such as "to what extent did you?" "How did you feel about?" and "is it possible that?" Fear calls these phrases wonderful and remarkably effective because they turn leading questions into open-ended ones. But don't be lulled into missing their sting. "To what extent were you successful on that job?" still carries the meaning of its harsher counterpart, "Were you successful on that job?" Keep your answer directed towards satisfying that unspoken question, and your value will jump in the interviewer's estimation. Two-step interview questions. Just as a dance partner leads you through a series of premeditated steps to complete a specific dance, so does the interviewer use questions that are designed to guide you into an overall pattern. The best way to do this is to introduce a general subject and then hone in on the reason for your answer. The method works like this. The interviewer leads off a round of questions with a query such as "What subject did you decide to major in?" He or she then comes back with "Why?" Interviewers use the two-step method to probe for clues to your judgment, motivation, and other factors of your personality. So do not think you are completely off the hook with a smooth answer like "history," because I believe it ultimately holds the solutions to problems in the future. When you are in the hands of a master interviewer, he or she is likely to ask you why that aspect seems important to you or why that compelled you to spend 4 years devoted to it instead of just taking a course or two. The best way to perform the two-step is to be prepared before you ever enter the interviewer's office. The more you understand yourself, the more gracefully the two of you will dance. Laundry list questions. Beware of questions that offer a variety of options from which to choose, the so-called laundry list. The interviewer is not always trying to help you think in a stressful situation. In fact, it is just the opposite. When interviewers throw out a question with a series of possibilities from which to select, they are often trying to confirm details they picked up from a previous comment you made. Richard Fear provides an example. Assume that you, the applicant, have dropped some hints that seem to indicate a dislike for detail. The interviewer can often follow up on such clues by including a reference to detail in the laundry list question at the end of the discussion of work history. Double-edged questions. Another tricky technique interviewers use to probe a job seeker's weaknesses is the double-edged question. It is called this because you are asked to choose between a rock and a hard place. You won't choose the first option unless you have a high degree of skill or personality in that area. The second is phrased so that it is easy to choose it, even though it is the less desirable one. Ouch. Here is an example. What about your spelling ability? Do you have that ability to the extent that you would like, or is that something you could improve a little bit? Notice the liberal use of softening words thrown in for good measure. If you select the first option, it implies you feel no need for improvement and you had better be prepared to back that up with perfect spelling. The second choice invites you to confess you are not up to speed in this area. Your best answer to a double-edged question is to frame it in the context of your strengths. Here's a sample response. Because I'm a perfectionist, my spelling ability probably will not ever be what I hope for, but I am an above-average speller. and I am very careful to check any words that I am not sure of so that no spelling errors remain.